Hello traders, it's another week and we've got another video for you. Once again, hello traders, I'm Simon from FTMO, and what our company does is that we are funding traders that are able to pass our evaluation process. And since this evaluation process is divided into two parts, which is the challenge and the verification, we are gonna look into successful accounts that have passed both of them. First, we are gonna look at two successful challenges, and after that, we are gonna look at two successful verifications. So without further ado, let's do this. Now for today, I think personally that I have picked some quite interesting challenges. So let's see this one, for example. So it's for $25,000. The balance curve looks quite alright, it's pretty standard here, but what is really interesting is that this trader was really patient since he used full 21 trading days to finish this challenge. So that essentially means that this trader was probably more patient than the others. You see, he could even stretch it to like full 22 or 23 trading days, but like whatever time you have to take, that's okay. And even his profit target is quite nice. He made $300 more than he was required to. Keep in mind that this is for $25,000. And regarding his statistics, he made quite many trades actually. He made 267 trades, that's quite a lot in my opinion, and he used 117 lots. Now his win rate is slightly above coin flip probability, so it's 51%, but the average risk reward ratio is quite good, it's 1.65, so it's still quite viable strategy. And now when I look at the daily summary, you can see that profits are divided very nicely across all days, so that's great. You know, he was progressively increasing his volume as he was nearing the end. Actually, this was his highest volume per day. But you know, I guess that this is to be expected since when you are nearing the end of the challenge period, there is some pressure put on you, so you really have to trade more. On the last page of the trading journal, I can see just basically profits. He even was paid a positive swap on Euro USD. So just so you traders know, there is an option to get paid a swap in some cases. And this trader probably trades it all. He trades Forex, indices, he even trades commodities. So yeah, pretty universal trader. And finally down here, you can see that he was mostly profiting on selling. His favorite, or rather most profitable volume was 0.9 lots. And also 0.1 lot. And the absolute most profitable symbol here is US 100. Alright, so this was pretty good. I always like to see patient traders. So now let's look at another challenge. Now this one is for $50,000, and the balance curve right here is really weird because there are huge dips, huge ups, huge downs. You know, the balance curve is basically all over the place. Now this trader is still above average with his patience, so he used 16 days, not just those 10 days. And otherwise there is nothing really that interesting in trading objectives. So when I move on to the statistics, he executed 167 trades and quite a huge volume here, which is almost 1,200. Now when I look at the win ratio and the average risk reward ratio, you know, he has some space to improve his risk reward ratio, probably even the win rate. But let's look at the equity simulator here, and let's say 1000 iterations and just run it. And as you can see, in the end, it's still pretty profitable strategy. So in the long run, there doesn't seem to be any problem with that. And when you compare the daily summary and the balance curve, you can really see these huge ups and downs reflected in the daily summary, because there are just huge profits and huge losses all over the place divided into all days. And even so that his balance was moving quite heavily all the time, it was still quite consistent. Now on the last page of the trading journal, I can see here just Forex. That is British pound and Japanese yen and USD and Canadian dollar. And that's it. I don't know, of course, what is on the other pages. And he is trading quite a huge volume on that USD and Canadian dollar. So there is that. And finally, down here in this section, this chart says that basically he is making most of his profits on buys, a little bit on sells, but not so much. And what is also very interesting is that he is losing quite a lot of money on this volume size. So it seems so that the higher his volume was, the more he lost. And truly, quite frankly, he was trading just Forex, as you can see in this chart. And his most profitable Forex pair was British pound and Japanese yen. So this one was quite interesting, and now let's look at verification accounts. This verification is just for $25,000. The balance curve looks, well, quite interesting actually, because right here you can see that he made his profit target, because the profit target on the verification accounts is just 5%. But then from that he traded more and actually went into a loss. So as far as I can see, he was actually pretty much done at this point. But since he decided to trade some more, he went into a negative. But after that, he basically traded some more and got out of that and succeeded. Otherwise, nothing too interesting in the trading objectives section. He almost hit his max daily loss. He had still like 100 and I think $37 to spare, so he didn't hit it. And in the statistics you can see that he executed 105 trades using 72 lots, and his win rate was 62%, but his average risk-reward ratio wasn't really that great. It was just 0.87. But you know, at least you can clearly see that you don't have to have really that high average risk-reward ratio and you can still be quite profitable. The daily summary looks here quite standard, really nothing that special here. It's distributed quite nicely, you know, as the rest of the traders so far. And the last page of the trading journal looks quite lovely, because there are mostly just green numbers except for this one. But otherwise, yeah, this is pretty much just green. He traded actually Forex, indices as far as I can see, and gold. And down here you can see that he mostly made profits on selling and lost money on buying. Now his most profitable volume was 0.7, that is right here. Lost most of his money on half of that volume, which is 3.5. And regarding the symbols that he traded mostly Forex here, and made most of his profits on British pound and Australian dollar. Okay, so this is this account, and now let's look at the last verification. Okay, so this is the last account. It's for $100,000, and the balance curve, as far as I can see, doesn't look all that great. You know, most of the time he was in a loss, which is certainly not good. Especially here and here it looked really grim. But luckily he got out of that right here. So now inspecting his trading objectives, it looks really standard. He didn't really come that close to breaching his max daily loss or even the max loss, and his profit target looks pretty standard here. Regarding the statistics, he executed 100 and almost 70 trades using quite high volume in my opinion, of course, but that's just my opinion. So that is almost 900 lots, and his win rate was actually very low. It was actually 30%, but his average risk-reward ratio was above 3. So now I'm really interested on how it will look like when I open the equity simulator. So let's do that real quick. 1000 iterations. Let's run it. And yeah, you know, still quite profitable. There was a huge dip, for example, here on this purple curve, but otherwise it looks still quite good. Let's run it one more time. And yeah, it still looks quite good. So as you can see, even if you have this low win rate with this high risk-reward ratio, it really compensates for that. So there is no problem with that. So now let's check out his daily summary. At the start, there were some huge losses, as far as I can see. Then some very minor profit, then loss once again. And interestingly enough, I can see a pattern here. You can see that the higher volume he opened, the more loss he realized. And here the volume is actually quite low and it ended up in a profit, interestingly enough. Then once again, there was quite a huge volume here and it ended in a loss. And once again, there was quite low volume compared to this and he made quite nice profit. So perhaps this trader could trade way lower volume and could end up with a way nicer result. Now in the trading journal, as far as I can see, he didn't hold any positions overnight. So he was mostly a day trader, I suppose. And as far as I can see, there is just Forex. And finally, this section right here shows us that he made most of his money on buying. On selling, he actually lost some, so that's not good. Now in the volume chart right here, I can see that this pattern that I already guessed was correct. So right here, there is a volume of 2, then there is 5, 3, and these ended up in profit. So that's good for him. But then if you see these losses, so for example, this one, it's 5 lots. So that's still quite fine. But when I look here, it's 20 lots. It's 20 lots and 10 lots. So the higher the volume for this trader, the more loss he ended up with. So essentially I'm trying to say that this trader is doing well on rather going with low volume. And regarding the symbols that he traded just a bunch of stuff, but most of his profits were made on these Forex pairs and absolutely the most on British pound and Japanese yen and euro, US dollar, and lost most of his money on gold. Okay, so this is it for this one. We will see these two last traders on their FTMO accounts, so I will really look forward to see their results. And with that, of course, this is the video, so I hope that you are now perhaps more inspired to research some more strategies. And of course, traders, if you have any question whatsoever, you can leave it down in the comment section down below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our FTMO YouTube channel for more content like this and follow FTMO on social media. And as always, traders, trade safe.